All right, guys, here's a really quick prop demo. I'm just on how to build a simple prop and SimplePropRig, okay? So I got my cylinder, which could be like an axe handle or something like that, or a door or whatever. Depending on where you want the joint to be, that's the important part. Make sure the object that you're using, notice, like it shouldn't have any rotation or translation. You should freeze your transforms, make sure there's no history on it, all blah, blah, blah. Make sure our UVs are killed, whatever, it's named properly. I'm not doing that here. All right, then you're gonna go to rigging, and I'm just gonna literally just create a joint, and I'm gonna hold X down, and there's my joint, and it's right at 0. You can't see it, so I'm going to go to display, animation, joint size, boost it up. All right. Now with the joints, it depends on where you have to think about where you want the rotation vector for this prop. If I wanted it at the base, or if I wanted its center, whatever. So placing the joint wherever you want it to rotate from is really important. This you don't want to worry about because you can't freeze transformations on joints. Once you have the joint where you want it, the next step, or the simple step here, is you can click and go to bind skin. If you have multiple joints, that's when it gets complicated. But for a basic prop, this is it. The way that I would structure this, if this was something that I was going to pick up or set down, or those kinds of things, is I actually would use 2 joints here. So I would duplicate this joint, and I would parent this joint underneath this joint, and then move 2 up. The reason I'm doing this is because this is going to be the joint that I'm going to parent constrain to my wrist controller or whatever, okay? So this is going to be in a folder that I'm going to call Geo. This is going to be in a group that I'm going to call deformation. And then I'm going to make a new group, or a new node, once I get some curves in here, that is going to be called control group, or control rig, okay? Control whatever, motion, sometimes you hear motion, whatever. All right. So all of them are open. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a curve. And there's lots of scripts to do this kind of stuff with. I'm literally just going to make a circle. I'm going to scale it up. All right. And then I'm going to turn on my control vertexes. And one of the things that I'm going to do here, I'm going to grab these, because I'm going to try to make like a really simple square. And I'm going to use move, and I'm going to hold X down and try to snap it here. But you'll notice that it doesn't, it's snapping relative. Well, in the snap settings, one of the things that you can do is turn off retain component spacing. And if you hold X down again and snap, all right, well, bugger, you should have done that. Yeah. That's interesting. That should have worked. It should have snapped it all in the same place. If it doesn't work with NURBS curves, whatever. There, I've got a soft square. Awesome. See this right here? If this is the size that I want and where I want my first curve to be, then what I need to do is make sure that I modify freeze transformations on that so that's its 0 position. Okay. I'm going to make another curve to scale it up. It's a little smaller. And I'm going to snap it to this joint. Now, if you go to V and you hold V down, V will snap to vertices, but it will also snap to joints. So you have to make sure, take a look at it, make sure it's there. I often check it in the orthographic view, okay? It's got to be at the exact 0 point of the joint. Once you have it where it's supposed to be, freeze its transforms, because that's its 0 position, okay? And these two things are now going to become the control rig. All right, now this is important. I'm going to name this ax. Sometimes I name them ax like underscore control. Sometimes I just name them ax, or CTL. And I'm going to name this one main. Okay. I'm going to parent ax under main. So if I move main, ax will follow. Okay. But what I want you to notice is this is still zeroed out. Okay. All right. That's important. You'll see why in a minute. Okay. So now I've got to parent constrain these to the joints. Okay. Great. So I'm going to parent child. I think I always mess this up, guys. We've talked about this before. I think it's parent child. I always reset this. And you're going to maintain offset, otherwise it will snap the curve to it. And so now if I move this, does it move the joint? No, it doesn't. I did it wrong. So it should be that, nope, that, apply. And now if I move this, the joint should move. Okay, great. So then it is parent child, apply. Okay, great. So now my control rig works, and if I move this thing, the whole rig works. Okay, great. Okay, so now my control rig is going to move my joints, and I need my joints to move my geo. Well, I'm only going to bind the geo to this joint. Not going to include this one in the bind. So I'm going to go to deform, or excuse me, skin, bind skin, options. And this is really important. The default is usually joint hierarchy. I don't want to do that. I want to do it by selected joints. And then you can leave the rest of the stuff the same because it's going to flood the weights. So apply and close. So now if I grab the main one, it moves around. Okay? And I've essentially created a prop that I can animate. I can rotate, right? And then I can parent constrain this to a hand and then move this with inside said hand. And if I grab both of these, I can zero it out and it'll go back to bind position. So that's essentially a basic like one joint prop structure that I would use. So next one we're going to talk about how to parent this to like say a rig and then export it from said rig.